The Galactic Coalition had ruled space for thousands of years. They believed they were the most advanced, the most powerful, the most intelligent. They looked at humans as weak, emotional, and primitive. Humans were allowed to exist, but not to grow. They were banned from building warships, forbidden from joining military alliances, and always watched closely. But the Coalition made one big mistake. They underestimated Earth. It started on a cold, gray morning in the deep command center of the Coalition. A strange signal was detected entering neutral space. At first, they thought it was debris, maybe a lost cargo ship or a malfunctioning drone. But as it got closer, the readings became strange. The size, the heat, the magnetic field, none of it made sense. Admiral Zarian, a proud and old being from the Varnak species, was called in. He ordered a full scan of the approaching object, confident it was nothing important. The scan took exactly 11 seconds. In the 12th second, the scanning technician gasped and dropped his datapad. He was shaking, eyes wide, mouth open. "Admiral." Zarian walked over, annoyed, and picked up the tablet. He read the data once, then again, then a third time. His hand began to tremble, and for the first time in his life, he felt true fear. The object was a ship, yes, but not like any the galaxy had seen. Its surface looked like black metal but reflected no light. The armor was layered with unknown materials that sensors couldn't penetrate. The energy core was not just strong, it was beyond the scale of their measurement. Its weapon systems were hidden, but the few that showed were terrifying. Particle disruptors, antimatter cannons, singularity launchers, and something simply labeled Unknown Human Class Z. That last weapon scared everyone the most. "It can't be human-made," whispered one scientist. "It must be from an ancient race, maybe a god-level artifact," said another. But the scan confirmed it was built by humans, and recently. There was no mistake, no confusion. This was Earth's creation, and it had just entered their space. The name on the hull was strange too. The scan caught a single word written in Old Earth language, finality. It wasn't just a name, it felt like a sentence. A warning, a promise, an end. Inside the command room, alarms began to go off. Emergency. Meetings were called, and leaders of hundreds of species demanded answers. How did the humans build this? Why didn't we detect it sooner? What do they want? But no one had answers. The ship didn't respond to messages, didn't send any signals, didn't ask for anything. It just moved slowly, calmly, like it owned the stars, Admiral. Zarian gave the order to activate full defense protocols. But even he knew it wouldn't matter. Their best fleets, their strongest stations, their most advanced shields, none of it would stand a chance. They had seen the scan, and the scan had shown them the truth. One officer, a young female from the Trenya species, said it out loud. "Sir, this ship wasn't made for battle," she whispered. "It was made for extinction." Silence filled the room. They all knew what she meant. This wasn't a ship built to fight fair wars. It wasn't made to win. It was made to erase, to delete enemies without leaving a trace, to rewrite the balance of power in one strike. They had kept humans weak, but now they were staring at the result of that mistake. Earth hadn't just caught up. Earth had gone beyond, and now they had sent a ship to prove it. No more negotiations, no more warnings, just the silent, dreadful approach of finality. And in that silence, every species in the Coalition understood. Something deep and terrible. Their pride had blinded them. Their control had failed, and now, destiny had arrived wearing black armor and moving with the calm of death. The scan had finished, but the fear had only begun. Asterisk, the ship called Finality entered neutral space and stopped. It didn't say a word, didn't send a signal, and didn't ask permission. It simply floated there, massive and silent, facing the stars like a dark statue. Around it, the cold void of space seemed even colder, and inside the Coalition's war room, leaders waited. They waited for a message, a greeting, a simple code of peace. But nothing came. For the first hour, they thought maybe the ship was damaged. For the second hour, they believed it might be observing, By the third hour, they realized something worse. It wasn't waiting, it was deciding. Galactic tradition said all ships must hail when entering foreign space. Even pirates did that. But this ship followed no rules, no diplomacy, no customs, and Earth said nothing. Every time the coalition reached out to human governments, the answer was the same. We don't know what it is, they claimed. We didn't send it, they insisted. But no one believed them. High Command called an emergency meeting. Admirals from 12 species argued across a round table of glass and light. We must communicate with the ship, growled one. We must prepare our defenses, said another. We must launch a warning fleet, barked a third. But none of them had a real plan, only fear and pride. Then came the whispers. A rumor spread through the stars. A human secret project, buried deep under ice, hidden for generations. A weapon forged in silence, built with anger, pain, and genius. Some said finality was made by exiled engineers. Others claimed it was created by a dead AI resurrected from Earth's forgotten wars. None of it could be confirmed. But one thing was clear: someone on Earth had made a monster. And now the monster had arrived. A bold move came from the Shirak Dominion. Their scout fleet of 5 ships approached finality at low speed, weapons powered down. It was meant to be a peaceful observation. Cameras rolled, broadcasts went live. Every viewer in the galaxy watched as the alien fleet came close. But finality didn't move. It didn't raise shields, didn't warn, didn't react. It simply existed. The Shirak commander grew braver. He moved closer. Less than 10,000 units from the ship's bow, he smiled, believing humans were bluffing. Then, without sound or light, every ship in his fleet vanished. Not exploded, not disabled, just gone. One moment they were there, and the next, the stars filled the space they once occupied. The broadcast cut to static. Billions of beings gasped across the galaxy. No weapon had fired, no beam had flashed. Yet 5 ships were erased like dust in the wind. No debris, no life signs, no escape pods, just silence. Finality remained still, as if nothing had happened. As if nothing needed to happen. The coalition command room went into chaos. Alarms blared, reports flooded in. All fleets were ordered to retreat from neutral space. Borders were closed. Planets went into lockdown. Every leader asked the same question: what did Earth want? But Earth said nothing. Their ambassadors denied everything. We don't control it, they repeated. We have no authority over finality. And maybe they were telling the truth. Maybe Earth had created something even they couldn't stop across the stars. Fear began to grow. Worlds that had laughed at humans now whispered their names with respect. Species that once hunted Earth colonies now erased those records from history. And the ship stayed silent, patient, always watching. Some believed it was waiting for a challenge. Others thought it was scanning for weakness. But the wisest of them understood. Finality was not a weapon looking for war. It was a warning waiting for a reason. No message, no threat, no treaty, just presence. And in that presence, the galaxy changed. Aliens once thought humans were small, emotional, wild. Now they knew the truth. Humans were patient, clever, and when cornered, dangerous beyond belief. They had built something that didn't need to speak to be heard. And now the entire galaxy was listening. Still, the ship didn't move, not even by an inch. But its shadow grew longer each day. And in every command room, every palace, and every warship, one thought echoed through trembling minds. If this is Earth's silence, what does their wrath look like? The galaxy held its breath. Finality remained still, dark and silent. Many feared it, others respected it. But one group couldn't help themselves. They were curious. Curiosity, in the wrong hands, becomes a danger. And in the hands of the Trakan Empire, it became a fatal mistake. The Trakans were proud, loud, and full of ego. They were known for their arrogance and love of conquest. They believed they were the smartest race in the galaxy, and they saw the silence of finality not as power but as weakness. Their leader, Commander Vekshal, was a decorated war veteran. He had destroyed fleets, conquered moons, and humiliated lesser races. To him, humans were nothing but talking animals who somehow got lucky. He stood tall in front of his officers and made a decision that would be remembered for centuries. "We will test this ghost ship," he growled. "If the humans want to play gods, let us show them the fire of kings." His fleet of 20 ships began its journey toward finality, each one armed with high-energy cannons, shields thick as walls, and engines that roared like beasts. The Trakan media broadcasted the mission live, calling it Operation Thunder Chain. Citizens cheered, confident in their empire's might. After all, no one had dared to approach finality since the Shirak fleet vanished. But the Trakans believed they were better. As they neared the human warship, the silence continued. Finality did not react. The Trakans sent drones to scan it. The drones disappeared. They fired weak plasma bursts near the outer edge, not as an attack but as a warning. Still, finality did not move. Commander Vekshal laughed on camera. "This is the great human terror? A dead machine in the dark?" He gave the final command. "Fire a pulse at the main deck. Let's see if it even wakes up." The Trakan warships aimed and released a burst, just strong enough to burn a small mark. They called it a tap, a playful insult. But the moment the pulse touched finality's hull, everything changed. The human ship's lights blinked red for the first time. No sound, no alarm. Just a glow deep and unnatural. A low hum passed through the void like a whisper of death. The Trakans paused. Even Vekshal looked unsure. "Hold position," he ordered. "It's just a response system." He was wrong. In exactly 1.4 seconds, finality moved only a few degrees, just enough to face the fleet. There was no countdown, no warning shot, no speech. A beam of energy the color of darkness flashed across the stars. Then silence returned. Every Trakan ship was gone, not destroyed, not broken, just gone. Not even their signals remained. The space where they had floated was now empty and cold. Finality powered down again, as if nothing had happened. Back on Trakan Prime. The live broadcast cut off in mid-cheer. Millions stared at black screens in horror. The news anchors didn't speak. The generals didn't breathe. The empire that had mocked humans just moments ago had lost 20 of its strongest ships without a sound. The Galactic Council fell into panic. If even the Trakans could vanish without resistance, who was next? Some demanded war, others begged for peace. But the question was no longer, what does finality want? The question now was, what if it doesn't want anything at all? Theories began to rise. Some believed finality was testing reactions. Others believed it was cleaning threats. But one message from an old human scientist spread like wildfire. He said only this: "Don't touch it, don't threaten it, and for all that is sacred, don't try to understand it." For the first time in history, curiosity had not led to discovery. It had led to disappearance, and in the silence that followed, the galaxy learned something painful. Some questions are better left unanswered. After the Trakan fleet vanished, the galaxy changed. The fear was no longer a whisper, it was a storm. Yet despite everything, finality still did not speak. It floated quietly, unmoving, as if waiting for the stars to catch up with its purpose. The coalition demanded answers. They turned to Earth, hoping for truth, hoping for control. But Earth gave them only confusion. "We didn't send it," said the diplomats. "We didn't build it," claimed the human president. "We don't even know who's flying it," whispered a military general. No one believed them. But when spies searched Earth's shipyards, they found nothing. No blueprints, no matching parts, no known engine cores. Every corner of the planet's military was clean. Too clean, so researchers dug deeper. They searched old human archives. Past wars, dead projects, canceled operations. One word kept appearing again and again: Project Black Echo. It was erased from public history, buried under layers of redacted data. It had no budget records, no known leaders, and no confirmed location. But rumors were enough. They said Project Black Echo was not just a weapon program, it was a survival plan. A secret group formed after humanity's first humiliations by the Council. Made up of exiled engineers, rogue scientists, and a few soldiers who had seen too much. Together, they vanished from Earth's surface and from its laws. They weren't building a fleet. They were building a single response, something that could make the entire galaxy regret ever pushing Earth down. Finality was their answer. Still, none of this could be confirmed. There were no living witnesses, no survivors, and the ship itself refused to speak. When experts analyzed the material of Finality's hull, they were stunned. It wasn't made of any known metal. Its layers shifted under observation. Microscopes showed patterns that moved like liquid but felt harder than diamond. Even scanning beams bent away from it, like the ship chose not to be understood. They tried to read the ship's energy signature again, but each time they did, the readings changed. One day it looked like a fusion core. The next day, it mimicked a dying star, eventually. Scientists stopped trying. They were afraid of what might look back. The only constant was the word engraved on its side, Finality. No nation claimed that name. No culture used that style of writing anymore. Some even suggested it wasn't written at all, but burned into the fabric of space, as if the ship was not just real, but a message sent by reality itself. People across the galaxy started worshipping the ship. Strange cults formed, calling it the Endbringer, the silent judge, the final mirror. They believed Finality had come not to destroy, but to reflect the evil of the stars back upon them. They knelt in silence, built shrines in its shape, and whispered prayers in human languages they barely understood. Meanwhile, the coalition fractured. Alliances broke, trust disappeared. Each species blamed the other. Why didn't you stop? The humans? Why did you let them grow? Why didn't we see this coming? But one thing became clear to all: the ship had no history. Or maybe it had erased its own. Some said Finality had always existed, hidden between stars and time. Others believed it was a child of Earth's wrath, born in a place so dark not even light dared go. The Council begged Earth to control it. But Earth remained silent now too. Perhaps they were afraid, or perhaps they knew something the others didn't. That this ship was no longer theirs, that it belonged to something higher, or something much worse. And through all of this, Finality did not move, it did not answer, did not explain, it simply existed. And its presence alone was rewriting the order of the galaxy. The Galactic Council was once the most powerful group in the known universe. Its chambers stretched across a glowing sky dome above the moon city of Revellon. Here, laws were made, wars were stopped, and races were judged. But after Finality arrived, those halls were no longer filled with pride. They were filled with fear. Day after day, meetings ended in shouting. Rulers from proud empires now trembled like children. "What do we do?" asked the Gluthan Emperor. "Should we beg the humans?" whispered the Queen of the Avathene. Even the stone-faced leaders of the Deathworld clans sat in silence. The humans sent no reply. The ship sent no message. The sky outside Revellon remained empty, but no one could stop looking over their shoulders. Inside the council chamber, the mood was worse than war. It was confusion. It was guilt. It was shame. All the old debates returned. "We should have let humans grow with us," said one elder. "No, they were unstable," argued another. "We used them," admitted a third. "We gave them nothing, and now they've taken everything." One representative stood, a tall elder from the Varan species, his eyes glowing softly. "This is our doing," he said. "For centuries we laughed at them, we limited them, we feared their potential, and now we see it." No one interrupted him, because everyone knew he was right. The council tried to form a defense pact, but the trust between species was broken. The Draken Empire, now silent and leaderless, had been their strongest arm. Now it was gone, like dust and wind. The Talari refused to share data. The Zelvas pulled their fleets back to their home stars. The Grenth simply left the council and sealed their space behind a firewall of black energy. All unity had collapsed outside. The chamber, riots began. Aliens demanded answers, soldiers refused orders. Even artificial intelligences started showing hesitation. The systems that had ruled for generations were crumbling. And in the center of every conversation was one name: finality. Then came the recordings. Somehow, leaked footage spread across the galactic net. It showed fragments of a secret meeting, Earth's first appeal to the Council. It had happened 83 years ago. A small group of human diplomats had requested fair rights, access to shared research, and permission to build planetary defenses. They were laughed out of the chamber, mocked, insulted, escorted by drones as primitive threats. Now that footage was being replayed across millions of screens. The galaxy watched as Earth begged for peace, and the Council spat in their face. The people began to ask, what if finality is not an attack ship? What if it's justice? A younger alien species, the Horelli, tried to send a message of apology to the ship. They transmitted it in over 30 human languages. No reply came. But their homeworld was spared when a storm passed through their system. It gave others hope. Maybe the ship was watching actions. Not words, but inside the Council, hope was dying. Arguments became fights. Fights became threats, and finally, threats turned to exits. 7 member races left the Council in one cycle. 3 declared neutrality. 1. The Vrenek declared loyalty to Earth without even asking the humans. They painted finality's image on their temples. The Council leader, High Speaker Talvis, stood before the few who remained. His voice cracked as he spoke. "We thought we were the galaxy's voice," he said, "but we forgot to listen." And in that single sentence, the Galactic Council broke, not by war, not by invasion, but by shame. Above them, the stars remained quiet, somewhere in the dark. Finality floated, still unmoving, still silent, and now, the silence was louder than any fleet. It had destroyed no planets, dropped no bombs, fired no speeches. Yet it had broken the proudest council in the universe. Asterisk. The galaxy had bent, but not all had broken. There were still some who believed finality could be defeated, some who called the ship a bluff, a machine running without mind, and some who simply refused to live under the shadow of fear. These were the ones who met in the hidden system of Salvos, 12 races, known once for their pride, now for their desperation. They called themselves the Last Alliance, and they had one goal: destroy finality before it chose to destroy them. They gathered the strongest warships ever built. Ships made from moons, powered by stars, guarded by A is older than language. The weapons were beyond powerful solar cutters, black hole torpedoes, time-bending missiles. It was said no single ship could survive a single volley from this fleet. Yet they aimed it all at one vessel, just one. The operation was named Silence Breaker. Their scientists claimed they had cracked finality's energy pattern. Their engineers had built a null net to trap it. Their leaders told their people, "We will end this shadow and take back our sky." The fleet launched in silence. Even their movements were hidden. Masked by gravity folds and ghost drives, they jumped into neutral space, surrounding finality like predators around a sleeping beast. The warship did not move, did not blink, did not even hum. Admiral Veyros, a legend among the Zarnak race, gave the order, "All weapons fire," and the sky lit up. Thousands of beams cut through space. Missiles swirled like comets, bending gravity to find their mark. The null net closed in, pulsing with black light. For 23 seconds, the universe shook. Planets nearby lost power, moons shifted in orbit, and distant stars flickered. Then nothing. The explosions cleared, the dust faded, the void returned to silence. But finality still floated, untouched. Its hull had not cracked, its lights had not dimmed. It had not moved even 1 inch. Admiral Veyros blinked. "Report," he barked. His eye stuttered, confused. "No damage detected," it said. "Target remains at full capacity." Before he could respond, finality moved. It didn't raise its weapons. It didn't deploy drones or unleash beams. It simply opened. A circular section at its center split like an eye, revealing something that wasn't a weapon. It was worse. A sphere of void, blacker than death, pulsed with silent energy. It was not fire, not light. It was absence. A force that did not destroy by impact, but by erasing existence itself. In 41 seconds, the entire Last Alliance fleet was gone. No wreckage, no signals, no screaming messages, just silence. Observers from distant systems saw only this 12 stars blinking. Then a dark flash, then emptiness. The galaxy didn't panic this time. Because panic was now useless, what they saw was not a battle. It was a decision finality had tolerated. Their fear, it had endured their threats, but once attacked with full force, it responded with finality. The galactic net went black for hours. Millions fell to their knees. Temples burned their old flags and replaced them with the symbol of Earth's old language. A single word carved into crystal finality. A new truth spread faster than fire. Finality was not a ship. It was a statement. A line drawn in the stars. And anyone who crossed it would simply stop existing. The Last Alliance had fired the first real strike, but it was also the last. Across the galaxy, weapons went quiet. Wars ended in silence, and even enemies embraced, because no one wanted to be next. After the Last Alliance vanished, no one dared to fight again. No more fleets were built. No more weapons aimed. The stars grew quiet. Not from peace, but from fear. And in the center of it all, finality floated silent, untouched, unchallenged. It never spoke, never moved again. It just remained in orbit over the edge of known space. Like a black sun, watching, waiting. Its silence louder than any battle cry. The galaxy changed. Empires once proud became humble. Species once cruel became careful. Treaties were rewritten. Not with power, but with apology. Earth said nothing through it all. They held no parades, made no demands, offered no terms. They simply watched as the galaxy bowed, not to their armies, not to their leaders, but to the shadow of a ship they claimed not to control. No one believed Earth anymore, but no one challenged them either, because now humans were something else, something other. A race that had suffered in silence. And then, in silence, stood above all. Galactic traffic shifted. Trade routes flowed toward human colonies. Alien children studied Earth languages. Diplomats learned how to shake hands and say thank you in 20 human dialects. Because everyone knew now humans remembered everything. The species that were once mocked, once called emotional and primitive, had built a ghost ship with no owner, a warship with no fleet, a message made of metal, and that message echoed louder than any war. Some said finality would one day leave, that it would disappear as mysteriously as it came. Others believed it would stay forever. A silent god, orbiting judgment above the stars. But all agreed on one thing. The galaxy now existed in two times. Before finality and after finality, and Earth never had to lift a finger, not again. Because victory didn't come with an explosion, it came with a presence. With stillness so powerful that empires fell to their knees. The Council, now a shadow of what it was, passed a final law. No interference with Earth. No restrictions on human growth. And most importantly, never, under any reason, provoked the silence. No one argued. Because everyone remembered what happened the last time someone did. On the one-year cycle of the Last Alliance's destruction, a monument was built. Not by humans, but by the galaxy. It floated in the empty zone once filled with ships, made from shattered pieces of conquered worlds. Shaped into one word, respect. And so the galaxy entered a new age. Not ruled by Earth, but shaped by it. Not through power, but through memory. Finality still hovered in the dark. No lights blinking, no sound to hear, but its meaning remained. In every star chart, every classroom, every leader's heart, they scanned Earth's warship. And they instantly knew. They were never meant to rule, not anymore, because when Earth rose, It didn't scream, it whispered, and that whisper broke. The universe,